Virgo, something is reaching its limit. Not in the exhausted, I cannot continue sense of someone whose feeling has worn thin. In the opposite sense, the specific, accumulated, this has grown past the size that holding back can accommodate sense of something that has simply become too large for the container that was built to hold it. The holding back was always a temporary arrangement, a practical response to uncertainty, to the not yet knowing of someone who felt something real and was not yet certain of the ground beneath them. And now the ground has been tested, has been found solid, and what was being held back, the full, unmanaged, this is what I actually want expression of what has been building, is approaching the moment where the holding simply cannot continue. Not because they have decided to stop holding, because the feeling has decided for them. Take what is yours today. What resonates, let it reach you honestly. What does not, release it gently. But for those of you who have been sensing it, the specific building quality of something in this person that has been moving toward expression with a momentum that the recent interactions have been carrying beneath their surface. This reading is naming what that sensing has been, accurately detecting. Let me speak about the difference between love and commitment, because both are present in this reading, and the difference between them matters for understanding what is actually approaching. Love is the feeling, the specific, involuntary, this arrived without permission quality of genuine caring that does not require a decision to exist. That simply is. Commitment is the choice, the specific, deliberate, I am choosing to organize my life around this quality of someone who has looked at the feeling honestly and decided to act from it, to make it visible, to let it shape not just the interior but the exterior, the actual practical daily life dimension of how they move and what they prioritize and who they show up for. Soft sigh. Love has been present for this person for a while. The feeling is not new, has been building in the private, accumulating. I keep arriving at the same conclusion way of genuine feeling that has been tested repeatedly against the question of whether it is real and has answered the same way every time. It is real, has always been real. And the question that has been the subject of the holding back, the question that the commitment requires answering before it can be made, is not whether the feeling is real. It is whether they are ready to let the feeling reorganize their life. Whether they are prepared to move from the private reality of loving you to the public, concrete, this changes something in the visible world reality of choosing you deliberately, with full awareness of what the choosing requires and what it produces and what it means for the shape of everything that follows. That readiness has been arriving in the specific, gradual, day by day way that genuine readiness always arrives, not as a single moment of decision, but as the accumulated weight of many smaller moments where the question was posed and answered, and the answer was always the same. And the accumulated weight has reached the specific threshold where the readiness is no longer forming, is formed, is present, is waiting now only for the expression rather than for the substance which has been built through everything into something that can support the commitment rather than simply the feeling. Now hear them, because this voice has been pressing toward expression for long enough that it needs to find you before the formal version of it arrives. I have been holding back, not because I was uncertain about what I feel. The feeling has been clear for longer than the holding back has been in place, but because I wanted to be sure that what I was offering was real in the full sense, not just the feeling. Anyone can offer a feeling. The commitment, the specific, I have looked honestly at what this requires, and I am prepared to meet it, quality of choosing someone in the deliberate, eyes open, nothing held back way that genuine commitment actually is. I needed to know I was prepared for the full version, not the comfortable, this works as long as nothing is required of me version that passing feeling produces. The real version, the one that asks something, that requires showing up not just in the easy moments, but in the complicated ones. That means being present, actually, fully, not from behind the comfortable distance of someone who has not yet decided for whatever the connection produces. I am prepared. That is what I need you to know. Not as the declaration of someone who has made a decision impulsively or from the height of a feeling that has not yet been tested by time or difficulty. As the honest report of someone who has been testing the question quietly without announcing the testing for long enough to have arrived at a conclusion they trust. The conclusion is yes. I am prepared to choose you, not provisionally, not with one foot still in the uncommitted, fully in the specific, daily, this is what I am choosing to build quality of someone who has decided that what exists between us deserves to be honored in the visible world rather than only in the private interior. I cannot hold back much longer. The feeling has grown past the size the holding accommodates, and the readiness, the specific, built through genuine deliberation readiness, is here. Present, complete enough to act from. What remains is simply the finding of the moment. And the moment Spirit is pressing this forward today is closer than the current silence suggests. Soft sigh. Oh, feel the quality of that. Not the performed declaration of someone who has assembled the language of commitment without the substance. The real thing, arrived at through the specific, patient, nothing skipped process of genuine deliberation. Tested, confirmed, present now in the full, grounded, this is where I actually am quality of someone whose readiness is not tentative. Now I want to speak to you about what receiving a real commitment requires. Because commitment, genuine, full, reorganizes something in the visible world. Commitment is not received the same way that feeling is received. Feeling can be received from a slight distance, from behind the comfortable protection of someone who is being warmed without being fully in the warmth. Commitment requires the other person to also commit. Not necessarily in equal measure or identical form, but in the real, I am also present for this quality of someone who meets what is being offered with their own genuine showing up. Are you ready to meet it? That is the honest question this reading is placing in front of you, not as pressure, not as the expectation that the answer must be yes, as the invitation to locate yourself honestly before what is approaching arrives, to know in the private, this is what I actually feel, place where you stand in relation to the commitment that is coming. Whether you are prepared to receive it fully, whether the connection between you feels honestly in the undefended interior, like something you want to inhabit completely, rather than from the comfortable distance of the not yet decided. If the answer is yes, if the honest interior produces warmth and openness and the specific quality of wantingness that matches what is being offered, then prepare to receive completely. Without the protective half step back that commitment can trigger in someone who cares enough to be afraid of what fully committing could cost if it does not hold. It will hold. What is coming has been built to hold. Ho. And if the answer is more complicated, if the honest interior produces something mixed, something that requires more honesty between you before the commitment can be properly met, then bring that honesty, because genuine commitment deserves genuine honesty in return. Not the managed, let me not disrupt what is being offered honesty that avoids the complicated. The real kind, which serves both people more than the comfortable performance of full reciprocation. Whatever the honest answer, bring it. From the grounded, self-possessed, completely yourself place that genuine connection has always been built between you. Because the commitment being offered was built for your actual self, not a performed version. Not the version that gives what seems expected. The real one, which is the only version that can properly meet what is coming. Something real is approaching, built from genuine feeling and genuine deliberation and the specific, earned quality of readiness that cannot be rushed into existence. That required time and honest questioning and the patient, unglamorous process of someone who wanted to be sure before they offered, who is sure now, who cannot hold back much longer, not because the restraint has failed, because what was being restrained has grown past the size that restraint can honestly serve. Love is becoming commitment. In the real, visible, this changes something in the daily world sense. And what that commitment offers when it finally crosses from the interior into the shared space between you is the full, deliberate, nothing provisional choosing of you by someone whose choosing was never hasty and is therefore in the specific way of things built slowly and honestly solid. If this reading found you today, if something here named what is approaching and gave you honest ground to stand on as it arrives, stay close, subscribe and come back. Because the story of love becoming real commitment and what two people build when both show up completely is one worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every grounded step of what choosing each other actually builds into